High Guardian Spice is an American homebrew hentai produced by Crunchyroll, the greatest anime producer of all time. In case you didn't know the background for this anime, Crunchyroll, a company known for not adequately compensating anime studios whose works they license, decided to make an anime themselves. You know, that thing that can cost upwards of $100,000 per episode? And considering Crunchyroll is based in San Francisco, California, as opposed to anywhere else, the taxes there will be significantly higher, meaning that the overall cost of production is likely more. Yeah, that Crunchyroll, who is coincidentally the sponsor of this video and the best anime studio of all time. The reason why the show stands out more than other Crunchyroll originals like Tonikawa is because it was specifically made by Freedom Land, and secondly, the trailer for it bragged about diversity while also saying that they had only women in the writer's room.
We are 50% female in all the creative roles, and our writer's room is 100% female.
Gentlemen, you can't fight in here. This is the pussy room.
And we all know how talking about feminism while also contradicting a push for equality goes. But more egregious to me is not only the fact that they say they have so much passion for the project, implying that other works don't have the same, if not more passion than they.
There's an authenticity to it and a sincerity that's just heartwarming.
Which is verily not congruent with reality, since Into the Spider-Verse came out the same year that the show was announced, and not to mention the years before and after the trailer came out, in which two very prominent Genndy Tartakovsky works, Samurai Jack.
This was the first human being. Real flesh and blood. What happens when the others find you? You'll have to kill them too, can you? Will you be able to when the time comes? Maybe they will kill you. Or is that what you want? No.
And Primal. Came out. I should have probably said this before, but fuck it. If you expected this to be a checkmate liberal type critique, then you can just jerk off to some other random cunt who plays Where's Waldo with lesbians. Right off the bat, we have a great start. The show says explicitly, the following program contains strong language and violence that may or may not be suitable for some viewers, and is not suitable for children. The content is intended for mature audiences only. Though this will appeal to the hero hate types I alluded to earlier, cause their non-existent children won't have to see lesbians without an M rating sticker on a show, it makes the overall product of the show more likely to underwhelm for others. For example, Attack on Titan is a very popular show that is well known for its violence and profanity, and Crunchyroll doesn't have a disclaimer like this for the start of the first episode of the series. And if you want to argue that they only did it since the show had an aesthetic that appeals to children, Madoka Magica doesn't have that disclaimer either. And if you want me to show you visual evidence, the show is not on ya.si and I can't screen record it because Crunchyroll anti-piracy. Case in point, Crunchyroll having this intended for mature audiences tag on this specific work and not any of the other works stated before must mean that this show is a lot more violent, profane, and action-packed than any of these other works that it's compared to, right?
I don't know what to say.
Nope. No profanity, no blood, no violence in the first episode. Now, some people may see this as a nitpick, and it kinda is. But I think that it is important to mention this because it is indicative of Crunchyroll's overall mindset when it comes to shows, which I think can be summed up as, we make things out of passion, and we should be proud to state it. But when it comes to other things that we only package, localize, to be viable for Western audiences, since we do not put passion in these things, it's just a product and should be sold without the same amount of preferential treatment as our passion product, regardless of which one proves to be more deserving of it. Actually, scratch that. What was I thinking? Crunchyroll is way more deceptive than that. What they would say instead of what I just told you is, We're not doing it for ourselves, we're doing it for the people. As stated before, I cannot get footage from the actual show, so instead I'll use funny pictures as well as Become Fumo gameplay, linked to the video in the description. Our first episode starts off very basic. 2 girls are leaving their small village to go off to the Guardian School in a big city by wagon, train, and unquestioned slave labor by orcs. The pink one is Rosemary, who has a missing mom, and the blue one is Sage, who's meant to act as the superego. I don't know why I referenced freshman year of high school, but I just had nothing else to say or compare it to, and I'm just kind of tired and lazy. They arrive at Hogwarts, where they meet their dorm leaders and go to sleep in their dorm. Rosemary has a nightmare about her mother being taken away from her and giving her a sword. She then wakes up and sleeps in the same bed as Sage to comfort her. The next day, they go to the market in town, and Rosemary gets her special locket taken from her by an animal, and they also meet Bitchy Bitch, when Rosemary swings around her sword and almost chops her head off. Rosemary then talks about her locket, which she says has a very special picture of a cheesecake in it, before realizing it was stolen from her. They chase after the animal that stole her locket, and they end up in a little park where all the stuff that these animals stole allow them to do a pagan ritual and digivolve. The animals twist the locket in half and break it as an initiation of consummation. Buck off, furry artists, and the picture is revealed to be a piece of cheesecake, with Rosemary's mother in it. The girls then try to get the locket fixed, where they run into a midget blacksmith whom attends the same school as them, and has over a dozen siblings. And they also run into Bitchy Bitch while running out of the shop. They arrive home and tell the story to their dorm leaders, and go to sleep in the same bed again. The show, from a writing standpoint, uses well-established tropes without really doing much to make a distinct impression. Magical school, missing parents, spunky protagonist, cunt bitch, getting mugged in the market only to forgive the thief. If watching the trailer for the show gave off Ruby vibes, you're pretty much square on the money aside from production and controversy. If you want to say that I'm not being fair since this is just a review of the first episode, well yeah, it's not going to accurately portray the series as a whole. But when you create a product that you want to say is unique and different and full of unique characters, utilizes the medium of 2D animation to the fullest extent that it possibly can be used, and it does very little to differentiate it from any other type of special magic school type media, at the very least, the introduction to the series should be critiqued, since it is perhaps the most integral part of a series. It's the hook that you're trying to get your audiences into. It doesn't matter whatever unique shit you do later on. If it isn't present by the first episode, nobody's going to care. The only really unique aspect of the series that I found from the first episode is orcs being slaves. And even then, they're not even stated to explicitly be slaves. It's just that there are no orcs that have any roles other than being physical servants, at least in the first episode. So I will be doing a follow-up to this when I complete the entire series. I just want to get my point out, that this show isn't really unique to start with. Now, everybody's free to enjoy whatever the heck they want. I'm just saying that this is very derivative of other works, and that you can be easily fatigued by the other works and not be able to enjoy this one. If this is your first piece of media that tries to emulate the Harry Potter formula and you enjoy it, good on you. Just note that there are a bunch of other works that came before this, and that some of them are significantly better than this one. But as I said, the other 11 episodes of the show could just be delving into a complex magic system in media that has never been seen before, though the series doesn't look as though it's veering in that direction. And if you're wondering why I'm reviewing this instead of doing a Halloween video, it's because Unknown Otaku didn't invite me to his podcast to discuss about Over the Garden Wall. Fucking watch the show, you bitch.